Okay, everybody, stand by.
All our doctors and NPRs that are here.
Good morning. Hello. Hello. Thank you. Hello again. Thank you so much. Great. How lovely. Let's take off a sticker. You want to do the run show? Yeah. Perfect. Do you need this? Yes. Okay, guess we're good to start. Yes. Good morning. Good morning. Buenos días. Thank you everyone for being here. Gracias por estar aquí. We're going to start our press conference now. Vamos a iniciar la conferencia de prensa. We're going to start with remarks from Miami-Dade County Mayor Daniella Levine Cava. Vamos a empezar con la alcaldesa Daniella Levine Cava, followed by Dr. Beatriz Terry, Miami dentist and periodontist and former president of the Florida Dental Association. After her, we're going to hear from Jonathan De Soufre. He is here as a concerned parent of 4. And we're going to be followed by Creole interpretation, and we're going to open it up for a Q&A. Thank you so much, May.
All right. Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for being with us. I'm your County Mayor, Daniella Levine Cava. On April 1st, the Miami-Dade Board of County Commissioners passed a resolution that directed our county to stop adding fluoride to our water supply. Since that resolution was passed, my office has heard from residents both for and against fluoride in the water. This is a major public health issue about which many in our community feel passionately. Not just as your mayor, but as a mother and a grandmother, the health and well-being of our community is my top priority. And so this is not a decision that I take lightly. That's why I have spent the past several days listening to parents, to community members, and most importantly to dentists, doctors, and medical experts and public health professionals, several of whom have joined us here today. Miami-Dade has added fluoride to our water since 1958. For nearly 70 years, we followed the recommendations of the trusted health organizations, including the American Dental Association and American Academy of Pediatrics. Dentists and medical experts, the same people that we rely upon to protect our children and our families every day. They continue to affirm that water fluoridation is a safe, effective, and efficient way to maintain dental health in our county. Halting it could have long-term and wide-reaching health consequences, especially for our most vulnerable families. And that is why today I'm announcing my decision to veto the resolution ordering the county to end fluoridation within the next 30 days. The science is very clear. The decision to stop adding fluoride to Miami-Dade's water ignores the guidance of dentists and medical experts who are overwhelmingly trusted by our residents on this issue. They agree that fluoridating our water at the current low level is a safe and proven way to prevent tooth decay and support better health, especially for our children. I do understand that some residents have concerns, and especially from parents who've heard about studies showing the risks of too much fluoride. And that's why we asked the experts for guidance. And they point out that those studies involved fluoride levels much higher than what is in our water. No major study has shown harm at the levels of fluoride we use in Miami-Dade. Experts also dispute the methodology and conclusions of those studies. While it may be relatively simple to stop adding fluoride as directed in the resolution, the long-term effects of doing so are anything but simple, and so we must consider the long-term consequences. Ending fluoridation could have real and lasting harm, especially for children and families who cannot afford regular dental care. We've seen it happen elsewhere. Cities that ended fluoridation only to see cavities skyrocket, emergency dental visits increase, and vulnerable communities bear the brunt. That means more children miss days of school and have trouble concentrating due to dental pain. More parents have to take time off of work, and families who are already struggling will face additional financial strain. Our neighboring Pinellas County in Florida, Buffalo, New York, and Calgary in Canada, these are all places that ended water fluoridation only to bring it back later when they saw the consequences at a steep cost to both public health and taxpayer dollars. The city of Buffalo is fighting a class action lawsuit right now that was brought by parents who experienced dental issues that could cost taxpayers over $160 million after the fluoride was removed. We should learn from these mistakes and not repeat them. It's also important that we have the right process in place to make a decision this important. This resolution was passed following a very hasty process. There was no committee hearing. There was no real chance for residents and experts on both sides to weigh in. A decision that affects every person who turns on their tap in Miami-Dade County should only happen after meaningful input from our residents and experts. I welcome continued and balanced dialogue in the weeks ahead. This is a robust and important conversation that concerns our entire community. I urge this board to sustain my veto so that we can continue protecting the health of our residents, making sure that our decisions reflect the voices of the people we represent, and so we can build a safer and healthier Miami-Dade. Thank you. Buenos días a todos. Soy la alcaldesa de Miami-Dade, Daniella Levine Cava, El 1 de abril, la Comisión del Condado aprobó una resolución para dejar de añadir fluoruro en agua potable. Durante los últimos 10 días he considerado vetar esta medida. Sé que es un tema de salud pública muy importante y que muchas personas tienen opiniones fuertes al respecto. He escuchado a padres, madres, miembros de la comunidad a favor y en contra del flúor. Sobre todo, he escuchado a dentistas, doctores y otros expertos de salud pública. Desde 1958, Miami-Dade ha arreglado fluoruro en agua, siguiendo las recomendaciones de organizaciones confiables como la Asociación Dental Americana y la Academia Americana de Pediatría. Los dentistas y médicos siguen afirmando que el fluoruro es seguro y ayuda a prevenir las caries, especialmente en niños y familias vulnerables. Por eso, hoy anuncio que voy a vetar la resolución que ordenaba dejar de añadir el fluoruro al agua en los próximos 30 días. Mi prioridad es la salud de nuestros residentes y, según los dentistas, no tener la protección del fluoruro en el agua sería un error. Los estudios que dicen que el fluoruro hace daño son basados en niveles mucho más altos que los que usamos aquí. En otras ciudades donde lo quitaron, tuvieron que ponerlo de nuevo porque aumentaron las caries y los costos para los residentes. En Buffalo, Nueva York, por ejemplo, padres de familia demandaron porque sus hijos tuvieron muchos problemas dentales y la demanda podría costarle a la ciudad más de $160 millones. También es importante señalar que esta decisión fue tomada sin suficiente discusión pública ni participación de muchos dentistas, doctores y expertos. Una decisión tan importante no debe hacerse sin escuchar al pueblo. Gobernar bien es escuchar y dar espacio al debate. Invito a la Comisión a mantener este veto y a seguir trabajando juntos por la salud y bienestar de todos en Miami-Dade. Gracias. And now I'm going to turn it back to Natalia.
Now we're going to hear from Dr. Beatriz Terry. She's a Miami dentist and periodontist and immediate past president of the Florida Dental Association.
Thank you. Good morning. I am Beatrice Terry, immediate past president of the Florida Dental Association, a practicing dentist in Miami-Dade County for over 30 years, and a mother of 3 children, also married to a dentist. So dental care is very important in our family. Water fluoridation is critically important to the dental health of our community for several reasons. First and foremost, it prevents tooth decay across all age groups. Both children and adults are affected by dental decay, and fluoride in our water helps strengthen enamel, preventing and resisting decay. My population is primarily adults, and because many adults are taking medications, we also have to worry about them too, because the number one side effect of medications is dry mouth or xerostomia. So having fluoridated water is important not only to our children, but to adults. Secondly, it reduces the oral health disparity. Water fluoridation is a public health measure that benefits everyone, regardless of age, income, education, or access to dental care. It especially helps our underserved populations who may not be able to afford regular dental visits, fluoride treatments, or even fluoridated toothpaste. I've heard that discussion. People can purchase fluoridated toothpaste and solve the problem, but not everyone can afford fluoridated toothpaste. And not everyone lives in Miami-Dade County. There are pockets within Miami-Dade County that don't have access to those types of things. It is safe, effective, and backed by science. As the mayor mentioned, it's been in our water since 1958. I am a lifelong resident of Miami-Dade, and I have never had a cavity. My 3 children have never had a cavity. And I treat a population of people that come from areas that don't have fluoridated water and come with decay. So there's proof to that. In addition to all the studies that have been done demonstrating how effective the prevention of decay is by using the optimal parts per million of 0.7 within our water. As she mentioned, it is backed up by the CDC, by the World Health Organization, by the American Dental Association, and by the American Medical Association. In addition, fluoride saves money for families and our healthcare system. By reducing the number of cavities, fluoride decreases the need for costly dental treatments like fillings, crowns, and extractions. In fact, it's ironic I'm here speaking on fluoride because if we took it out of the water, I would be in business for a long period of time, and so would all my colleagues. But wearing my Florida Dental Association hat, I will tell you that our principal goal is to protect the public, and that is by doing preventive dental care. Fifth, it works without requiring individual action. Unlike brushing or going to the dentist, which rely on personal habits and access to care, water fluoridation works passively and continuously. Every time someone drinks tap water, they get a small dose of cavity protection without having to think about it. And many say that topical fluoride is equal. It is not. Systemic fluoride is much more effective in preventing tooth decay than it is in a topical form. And finally, it benefits the entire community. Because it is delivered through public water, fluoridation protects everyone who drinks tap water, whether at home, at school, at work, or in public spaces. It's one of the few health interventions that provides broad, lifelong benefits to an entire population. As a 30-year practicing dentist, I never thought this would be an issue I'd have to tackle. I understand the concern of many of forced medication, but fluoride is not a medication. Fluoride is a naturally occurring element that's found in our water and in many of our food sources. It's there naturally occurring. We're not adding anything to it. And I understand the skeptics that feel that things are being pushed down. And therefore, on behalf of the Florida Dental Association and the American Dental Association, we understand that some of this research is very old because we thought this was a no-brainer, right? But people want to see current research. So our position is that we have new studies, current studies, so that the naysayers or the ones that are, concerned about it, we can prove that the 0.7 parts per million is safe and effective. But in the interim, we need to keep it in our water so that we protect the public. My number one job, the mayor's number one job, is the health and safety of the citizens of Miami-Dade County, and I think that we need to keep it. And I commend you for vetoing that. Muchas gracias.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now we're going to hear from Jonathan de Soufre. He's here as a professor and also concerned father of 4.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jonathan de Soufre. I want to thank the Honorable Mayor Cava for having me here and her staff. As a concerned parent, just like the dentist, the doctor said, my number one concern is the health and safety of my children, and fluoride, especially their dental health. My fluoride plays a big role in that, and preventing cavities and things like that. I grew up in an environment where fluoride was part of our water. So for 3 decades, I had no cavities. I'll say that again, for 3 decades, I had no cavities. I have a family friend of mine who, her life, she grew up with no fluoride in her water. And just 2 weeks ago, the same cookie that our kids and my children enjoyed taking a bite of, my family friend, her tooth broke. That cost of fixing that tooth is about $3,000 to $4,000. With fluoride in our water, it's about maybe $2 to $5, the research says, but I'm not sure. I'll leave it to the experts. But how many of you would rather pay $2 or $4,000 in this room? So at the end of it all, I'm a concerned parent, and I'm grateful that we all here as concerned parents would want to see the health and safety of our children. So merci en pile. Thank you very much.
Sir, could you spell your name for us real quick?
My name is spelled Yanatha.
And last name?
Last name is D as in David, E S as in Sam, O U V as in Victor, R E. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You can take off your sticker.
Now we're going to have some remarks in Creole by our interpreter, and then we're going to open it up for questions.
Bonjour tout le monde. Dans date 1er avril, le Conseil a été passé en résolution qui demandait pour suspendre mettre fluor dans de l'eau dans le contenu amidède. Cependant, denticiens avec experts médicaux d'accord sur l'idée que fluor va représenter aucun danger et que est capable de gagner avec un pile protection et utiliser avec un pile protection. Si vous ne mettez pas fluor, ça capable de représenter un danger à long terme, surtout pour les gens avec famille. C'est peut-être ça que je prends une résolution pour capable mettre un veto sur la résolution qui était passée en attendant que y ait l'autre décision qui prend. On comprend que il y a une famille avec des gens qui ont un peu d'inquiétude sur l'information que vous entendez qui dit que fluor représentait danger. Cependant, c'est parfois lorsque vous mettez trop fluor, mais pas une grosse étude qui chita sur ça que vous annoncez à vous-même. Nous avons dans le contenu amidède un processus qui est bien méticuleux pour nous capables de mettre fluor dans l'eau. C'est peut-être ça, nous demandons tout le monde pour être capable de comprendre la qualité de l'eau que vous recevoir. La résolution qui était passée, c'est une résolution qui te prend sans que le comité n'a pas de occasion gagne une audience vraiment pour prendre une décision. Et les résidents n'ont pas de occasion tout pour être capable d'exprimer. C'est peut-être ça que je demandé au conseil là pour camper derrière veto là pour nous capables de continuer à contenu amidède et une bonne qualité de l'eau. Merci.
I want to thank so much to all of our wonderful experts, including parents who joined us here today. Thank you very, very much to all of you. And also to our chief, Coley, Roy Coley, obviously, who is himself very knowledgeable. So we're going to move to the questions now. Any questions? We'll start with you, Steve.
And a question for Dr. Terry. Many you spoke of recent research, and can you speak a little bit to what some of the critics have pointed to in the past? And you spoke of new research and relevant research. Can you elaborate for us?
Research is being recommended at this time. I was in D.C. April 1st. We have Lobby Day, where the dentists go onto Capitol Hill, and we discuss this. And we have asked for the appropriations to consider funding an NIH research on fluoride so that we can pacify others thinking of what's going on, so that we can reiterate what's been done 75 years ago moving forward. Because we thought this was a done deal, it hasn't been really studied as of recent. So we are going to show that it is. There is a more current research that was done in Australia that proved that at the right parts per million, which is what we use here in the U.S., it is safe and effective.
Doctor, do you speak Spanish?
I do.
Remarks in Spanish, please.
Repeat those remarks in Spanish?
Yes.
On the study?
Por favor, sobre los estudios más recientes que comprueban.
En este momento, la Asociación Dental Americana y la Asociación Dental de la Florida estamos recomendando de que hagan estudios recientes sobre el flúor al nivel óptimo que estamos recomendando, que es 0.7 parts per million. Australia hizo un estudio recién indicando de que el nivel óptimo de 0.7 es eficiente y efectivo en el control de la carie sin tener efectos neurológicos. Los estudios que están comentando en estos momentos fue un estudio recién, pero fue en una cantidad sumamente alta. No es la porción que nosotros recomendamos, es doble la cantidad del flúor que nosotros ponemos en el agua. Otra cosa que quiero mencionar, hay ciudades en el estado de Florida, por ejemplo Jacksonville, que tiene un nivel de flúor doble lo que tenemos en el agua en este momento. Y nosotros tenemos que regular ese nivel de flúor al nivel óptimo porque puede hacer daño. Los daños son manchas en los dientes, ese tipo de cosas. Y el estudio que están comentando ahora que la gente están asustados son en esas cantidades. Pero nosotros nunca hemos tenido esa cantidad, simplemente lo tenemos que poner al nivel óptimo.
¿Y cuál es la cantidad que recomienda la Asociación Americana Dental? ¿Y cuál es la cantidad que tenemos hoy? Tal vez alcaldesa lo puede responder usted. La cantidad que tenemos hoy día en el condado y si ha sido la misma cantidad a través de los años. In English and Spanish.
The optimal levels of fluoride in the water is 0.7 parts per million. We have had that optimal part per million since 1958, and currently we still have that. I'm not sure, I think there may have been a little bit of tweaking, but 0.7 is the average because it's been studied that way. En Spanish, la cantidad óptima de flúor en el agua es 0.7 parte por mil. Le voy a decir una cosa interesante. In Calgary, in Canada, my friend was president of the Calgary Dental Association when this happened in Canada. He phoned me and said, they want to take out fluoride out of the water. What do you think? This is terrible. We have an expert here in Florida who speaks about fluoride all over the nation, and we sent him over there. They did take it out of the water, and 3 years later, they had to put it back because the incidence of decay skyrocketed. That's not fair for our children. We really need to be protecting our children. They talk about IQ. I don't know. I went to school for 11 years. My college, my dental, and my specialty training. I think my IQ is pretty good, and I've lived on fluoridated water my entire life.
At the state level, the ag bill, which is about to head to the full Senate for a vote, and of course there's the companion House bill that's moving through committees, does have language which would remove additives in water that are not for water quality, which would then include fluoride. If that passes and becomes the law for the entire state of Florida, this kind of forces everyone's hand, correct? How would the county, handle that if that becomes the law?
Well, obviously, we're monitoring what's happening at the state, and we certainly hope that they are listening to the experts just like we are.
Mayor, what would have to happen for you to be convinced that fluoridation is not a good idea for Miami-Dade?
I think if there were definitive, double-blind studies, the way that medical research is conducted, that showed that there was an injury. Of course, we don't experiment on children. These are proven over many, many years. I think you heard from our dentist that this is only to confirm what we already know from past research and from practice.
If CDC changes guidance, would that affect your opinion?
I'm always going to follow the law, but at this point, we have had no evidence to suggest that we should discontinue the practice. Bueno, sí, claro, si había estudios que definitivamente, usando todos los medios oficiales que tenemos que usar, que se hace daño, claro que sí, vamos a cambiarlo, pero después de tantos años de usarlo, que muestra que es tan efectivo, y también los estudios que tuvimos y otros estudios, por ejemplo, en Australia, como dijo la dentista, vamos a seguir adelante, que no hay ningunos datos indicando que es peligroso.
Any other questions?
Before we end, Mayor, sorry, if you have any comment regarding the passing of Miami Commissioner.
Well, I'll answer in English and then in Spanish. So we learned this morning that Commissioner Manolo Reyes had passed in the night. We know he was struggling. Really a dear friend, a wonderful human being, someone who was loved and admired by everyone. And for me personally, a deep loss. El comisionado Manolo Reyes, que se desapareció en la noche, yo recibí las noticias esta mañana y yo soy muy triste. Eso es una pérdida muy grande para la comunidad. Un hombre honorable, honesto, amable y que todos respetaron, una pérdida muy grande. Y pusimos las banderas a la mitad, honorándolo. We put the flags at half-mast in his memory. Okay.
Mayor, have you spoken to the 3 commissioners who weren't there, and how they will vote on the override?
So I've spoken to the commissioners, not just the 3 who weren't there, and I do not know for sure if my veto will be sustained. but I am doing what I believe is the correct thing to do in the interests of the community's health, and I stand with our dental and medical experts in so doing. Thank you.
And you told us you think you need 5.
Yes, if
All of it.
if they're all present, I need 5. I need 2/3 of the commissioners present and voting.